I am a BraveMaker.
I am a BraveMaker.
I am a BraveMaker.
BraveMaker is always about taking big risks, going after those big dreams, and not letting anybody tell you no, that you can't do it.
BraveMaker to me means courageous voices, diverse voices, standing up for what means something to you.
BraveMaker means to show up in your authentic self and telling the stories that you feel will resonate with other people. Really just showing up as your true self in the world.
It was a film screening, but also it was a healing opportunity and journey. So really honored to have been a part of that.
BraveMaker, what that means to me is not just something you say. You actually have to get out there and be vulnerable and push those limits.
It means getting out of your way. My fear is the thing that stops me, and my ability to be brave is the thing that moves me forward.
Really, I've come to realize that you have to create your own door and walk through it.
And you make your own opportunity.
You don't need approval from anybody.
Really know why you want to tell the stories that you're telling.
How BraveMaker compares to other festivals is amazing. The filmmakers feel welcomed, invited, and like we are a key part of the festival. The organization and the execution is top-notch.
It's been amazing to watch the community here. It's been amazing to watch how everybody seems to want to interact with each other. You can really feel that here. This is an incredible community.
Take your risk, and if it doesn't work out at the moment, it wasn't meant to be, build up your career and ask again, ask again, ask again.
If you could disidentify with your failures as being things that somehow you should try to avoid, as opposed to failures being something that you embrace, because in order to do that, you had to risk.
Failure is just a learning tool. Failure is just, what are we not going to do in the future?
Push through every freaking obstacle. If I quit, then who? I do this because I need it, and I do this because I think everybody else will benefit from it.
Elizabeth was a seed planter, and she was one of the best nurturers on the planet. The reason I'm here in this room with you is because of her. The story of her is the story of me, and the story of me is the story of you, because we're all here for a reason, and we all have a story to tell.
I believe that films are powerful when they're able to touch the soul. And I believe that every single one of the films we watched tonight did that in such a powerful way.
I am a BraveMaker.
I am a BraveMaker.
Yo soy un BraveMaker.
We are BraveMakers.
I am a BraveMaker.
I am a BraveMaker, and so are you.
BraveMaker Show is hosted by Tony Gapperstone. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
It's showtime, everybody. Welcome to episode 190 episodes of the BraveMaker Show. We're 10 away from 200. My name is Tony Gapperstone. I am an actor and a writer and a director and all of the things in the Bay Area, founder of BraveMaker. I love getting to do this work. You can find me on the socials at tonygap.com or everywhere at my name at Tony Gapistone. Don't forget, you can follow us at BraveMaker.org and find out more about us at BraveMaker.com. We're here every Wednesday on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, talking to people about how they bravely make it in this amazing industry that we love so much. Usually, I have a co-host, and once in a while, I have guests join me. Sometimes I'm by myself, but today I get to have my friend, actor Jason Fong. Welcome, Jason.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's been a minute. It is I, Jason, aka Jason Your Face, actor, artist, black belt, coming at you.
Hey.
How y'all doing? Good to be here. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing. I have been in this immersive theater event in San Francisco all week, and so you can't tell, but I am going to be posting a bunch of pictures this Saturday after I'm allowed to. But I've had a bald cap on and like intense makeup, so my skin right now is super scaly. So I'm not going to do like any close-ups, okay? Because my skin is recovering from these amazing prosthetics, but I've been having a blast. It's been so fun.
That sounds good.
I'm excited to have a stunt performer on the show. I kind of teased last week that we have a thirst trap today because I met him at Universal Studios and he was doing this really cool show. And then we started following each other on Insta, and now I'm like, I can't eat any carbs anymore because of this guy. So I'm super stoked to have Oz KAYNAN on the show. Oz.
Wow, look at that. Look at this guy. 0% body fat.
Seriously.
It's really important to mention that carbs are super important doing what I do, just so you know. I eat a ton of carbs. Carbs do not equal bad, actually.
So
that makes me feel bad because I eat a bunch of carbs and it doesn't, I don't look like that. So I'm glad we're being shot from the neck up.
You just gotta think about it as like fuel for what you do, you know? If you do the right things, you need the right fuel. Carbs is just a really good fuel, you know, in the end.
So Oz KAYNAN, everybody, follow him and get some fitness advice at Ozzy_Bozzy. Oz, let's talk. Give us your introduction, where you are, who you are.
All right. Well, as Tony mentioned already, my name is Oz KAYNAN. I'm originally from LA. I lived in Israel most of my life, actually, and I came back about 4 years ago to kind of pursue a dream in this crazy industry of ours. I started a little bit in the circus industry, actually, which was a very long hobby of mine. I do acrobatics, handstands, flips, tricks, a little bit of juggling and object manipulation and stuff like that. And Cirque du Soleil was kind of like the goal for a very long time until COVID hit and all the live shows shut down. I kept training, I kept working on it, and I kind of accidentally found my way into one of these live shows that happen in Universal Studios. And those shows happen under a company called Action Horizons. That company, they're a stunt company. I'm actually repping their shirt right now. They are in charge of all of Universal's live shows that involve any kind of stunts whatsoever. So they do here in Hollywood, they do in Orlando, Japan, Singapore, all those places. And I found myself doing one of their live shows, and suddenly I'm surrounded by all these stunt people. You know, everybody who works for them is a stunt person in one way or another. So that's how I kind of found myself from only wanting to do some flips, you know, to suddenly like taking hits, getting lit on fire, jumping from 45 feet into the water, and learning a whole lot more about this industry, and also getting into a little bit of film and TV and stuff like that. So that's kind of my path and how I found myself where I am today.
Accidentally.
Pretty much.
So cool. Oh, wait, you said your name is KAYNAN. I asked you if it was KAYNAN. You said yes. Now I look stupid.
I pronounce it like, you know, the Israeli, the Hebrew, you know, way, but like I don't expect everybody here to be able to pronounce it right. So I take what I can get, you know?
Oh my gosh. You deserve to be pronounced correctly. As someone with a hard to pronounce last name, let me just say. Oz KAYNAN. Okay, welcome.
Yeah,
Jason,
yeah.
kick us off with the question.
Yeah. So you mentioned you've been lit on fire. So what is the most dangerous stunt that you've ever performed?
Oh, I'd say it was, well, yeah, it's probably that one, getting lit on fire, but it happens actually, the one I do at Universal Studios, the one I do mostly actually, I'm part of the show Waterworld that Tony came and we met at. I do that show a couple times a week. Every time I do it, it's a couple times a day. So in that show, you have 9 different roles. If anybody who knows the movie Waterworld, came out in the 90s, Kevin Costner, big flop of a movie, pretty cool. I liked it, you know, but the live show at Universal has been going on for about 26 years at this point. The show has been super successful. It packs the stadium every single time. So you have 9 roles in the show, ranging from the mariner and all kinds of henchmen and whatnot. And my role, which is called the fire diver. All right, so we start in the beginning. We are one of the good guys. We hype up the audience. We spray them with water and stuff. We do a rappel from about 30 feet. We land the rappel, hopefully safely, tie up the rope, run across the stage. We get shot, die into the water. And that's pretty much in the beginning of the show. And then during the whole show, about 10 minutes, we have time to get ready with all the fire equipment, right? So if anybody, any stunt person knows what it means getting lit on fire, you're putting on tons and tons of layers of fireproof clothing. All of them usually made from this material called neoprene. I don't remember if it's the company that makes that or the material itself, but it's
Is it neoprene like the same thing that wetsuits are made out of?
Kind of, yeah,
Okay.
kind of. It's like they make like a more like cottony fabric kind of out of it rather than the lycra kind of like wetsuity feel. So it's about specifically for the show, because we do it so often and it just happens so many times. We put like 3 layers on of clothes, and the last layer being the deacon's outfit. The deacon is the main bad guy in the show, so we're kind of like exactly that. Yeah, so we're his stunt double, right? So I put on the deacon outfit on top of all the clothes. I put on a bald cap, an eye patch on. We got some gloves. And we put something called burn gel on over our hands and over our face. Burn gel is made by a company. It's made by a couple companies, but we get them from a really big company here based in LA called Action Factory, where they make that gel. And it's a super secret ingredients. You know, they don't tell anybody how they make it. And they only sell it to very specific people and production companies. So you get like buckets of burn gel from them. Cover our hands, cover our face. It's like this really thick, cold gel that sits in ice, like an ice bucket all day. So it stays like thick like that. Cover your face, cover your hands, and then we climb up to the top tower. All this happens backstage, obviously. We climb up to the top tower. Over there, we have a towel waiting for us. It's been literally gassed up with gasoline. We spill the whole can of gasoline on it, and it's like sitting there with like kind of a loop that you put around your neck. And that's kind of like our cape, right? The deacon has this kind of cape. So once the big airplane comes out in Waterworld, which is a huge distraction, we kind of do an old switcheroo. And I come out instead of him, dressed as him with the bald cap and everything. That's exactly how it looks like, just without the bald cap. And the deacon is talking backstage, so he's speaking out the lines, and I have to act them out, you know, in front of the audience. And then there's like the moment where I kind of turn around to Helen, which is the main actress of the show. She shoots me. There's a piece of pyro that explodes right behind me, and kind of like a flare that hits the towel that's right behind me, lights me on fire, literally. I run around for about 10 to 15 seconds, flailing, oh my God, I'm on fire, I'm on fire. And then I run towards the mariner, who's the main hero of the show, who's hanging kind of like on the edge. And we have to pretend as if we're running and trying to kick them. And they kind of duck at the last second. So we miss and we fall. It's about a 45 foot fall straight into the water, pretty much. You fall into the water, you have to hold your breath and dive under and pop up in a designated area where you can pop up and breathe out of the audience's sight. Take a breath. Dive again, kick off that platform, and pop up backstage where there's someone waiting back there with goggles and a snorkel, waiting to see that you're alive and well. You give them a thumbs up, and you're done. And you pop out for curtain call at the end of the show.
Wow,
So that happens
amazing.
about 4 times a day.
Oh wow, yeah. There's like 3 or 4 parts of that where I'm like, that sounds like the most dangerous stunt. Like just the fall alone, but you're on fire too. Like what the heck?
Yeah, there's lots of aspects of it that you gotta like consider, because it's not just one stunt. You know, there's a lot of things happening there. Like I mentioned, you get lit on fire. It's at a very high height with like bars. You can easily fall off that platform accidentally in one direction or another. There's the kick that happens. So it's like it's not just an ordinary dive where you have like a platform and you just like jump off that platform. You have to like kind of kick and miss. So it's like a really weird diving position. And obviously you got to do the dive, which is kind of like a half twist kind of fall, land safely in the water, hold your breath for long enough, pop up in the right place. You got to like open your eyes underwater, see the designated area, pop up there, kick up again. So there's a lot of aspects to that stunt that we break it down and we work on it individually. You start with a dive, then you get lit on fire on ground level, and then slowly kind of, up it.
Nice. Well, my family and I, we did the 2-day pass and we saw it both days. Super cool. We loved it. And it happened to be a little cold in LA at the time. And that it's called Waterworld. And there's all like these seats, like sit in this area if you want to get wet. If you don't, it's like sit in this small area. So we were sitting in a small area where you don't get wet. But I mean, I was thinking about the actors. You're getting lit on fire, so it's warm, but isn't that cold doing the water world stunt show?
Fun fact, it's actually if you feel heat while you're on fire in any stunt, something has gone terribly wrong.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You're not supposed to feel heat unless it's a really, really long burn and it's like a windy day. So sometimes the flames kind of like wrap around you. But generally speaking, usually what you're wearing is either wet, so you kind of like dip yourself in water beforehand, or that burn gel that I mentioned that's sitting in ice most of the time. You kind of cover everything with it, right? So you're like literally freezing while you're on fire. Everything is super cold. That gel that's on your skin is really, really cold gel. So you're actually really cold while you're on fire. But besides that stunt, honestly, in winter, man, that show sucks. Like it really sucks to do in the winter. The water is absolutely freezing. It gets down to like 52 degrees sometimes. A lot of the people do it with wetsuits. A lot of them don't because just the wetsuits are so restricting, and you have a lot of running around and stunts to do that. Honestly, with the wetsuit, you kind of overheat even sometimes. So you just gotta fight through it a lot of the times. And the fire divers, ourselves, we're not allowed to wear wetsuits. We can wear it for the first half of the show where we die in the beginning, but then for the fire aspect, we're not allowed to wear the wetsuits. It's because of a safety concern, right? If worst case scenario happens and I don't know, I break my leg in the middle of the run, and I can't do the dive, and I have to like go down and I have to wait for someone to come with a fire extinguisher. If again, this is worst case scenario, that I'm already burning for like over a minute, and it kind of burns through the layers of burn clothes that I have on and gets to the wetsuit. The wetsuit material is not fireproof whatsoever, and that can kind of melt and fuse to my skin, which is a really bad thing that you do not want happening, right? So we're technically not allowed to wear wetsuits, and it kind of sucks, not gonna lie.
Well, you definitely
in the summer, it's like the best job ever, you know. So
your capabilities to have the show go on is pretty amazing. I definitely had a lot of admiration for all of you doing the level of stunts, but also doing it in the cold and in the weather. So super cool. That's why I wanted to go up and meet you all and chat. So I'm really stoked to connect and hear about your work you're doing. So you're in LA. You also kind of mentioned you do some film and TV stuff. Can you chat a little bit about that? Are you doing stunt work and double work, or what does that look like for you right now?
Yeah, it's mostly stunt. A lot of so film and TV was never my objective. Kind of like that was never my thing. I always liked the stage, so live theater, live shows, stuff like that. That was circus, that was really my passion. But again, accidentally getting into this industry, you kind of see the projects that everyone is working on. I have friends that worked on The Mandalorian or any Marvel, movie or stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's like really cool. I want to do that as well. So I'm slowly starting to get into there. But as you know, a lot of these productions, they work with unions, and there's SAG and all these other unions that you need to be part of. If not, nobody's going to even talk to you, So I'm slowly working my way there. I already have a couple of vouchers. I'm also doing another live show at Disney, which I can kind of talk about, but not really. But that is under another union called AGVA, and which AGVA is a sister union to SAG. And once you're in AGVA for about a year in an active role in AGVA, you're eligible for SAG, right? So I've been there for, I can neither confirm nor deny that that's me. So once you're in AGVA for about a year, which I am almost there, you are SAG eligible. And once I'm SAG, that's when I know I can start approaching TV and film a lot more seriously, right? Because up until now, it's a lot of low budget stuff. I did some big foreign stuff. I actually got flown out to Saudi Arabia last year. Wow. I was there for about a month and a half working on a series over there. They hired a stunt team from out here in LA. So a lot of people who actually also do water world, we all went there. It was a team of we were 6 or 7 stunt guys and women who got flown out to Saudi. We had some people that were there for about 6 months. I was there for only a month and a half. I'm Israeli, like I mentioned, so I'm Middle Eastern. I got the beard and everything. So I got used every single day to double literally everyone over there. But that was a really cool experience. But that was like a Saudi production. Everything was in Arabic. It was really cool, doing stunts off of horses and wires and stuff like that in the middle of the desert. That's how it looked like, It's literally middle of nowhere. You look like you're kind of like on Mars. Very, very, very cool experience to be out there and working on it. It was a huge, huge TV set. Really big production. One of the biggest, like the highest budget productions that they had out there. And they're kind of learning the ropes as well over there in Saudi. They don't have a lot of experience in productions overall. They're trying to transition from like the oil industry into the entertainment industry. So it was really cool, kind of like helping them learn the ropes as well. You know, they hired a lot of teams from abroad. A lot of the camera crew were British. They had some Australians working on the VFX, and all the stunt crew was from LA. You know, so it was kind of us working with a lot of Saudi crew and Britain and Australia. It was this really, really cool mesh of really talented people from all over working on that project. The show is called Rise of the Witches in English. It's supposed to be a really big production. It's actually supposed to come out honestly any week now from what I remember. So that'll be out there. And if you see a guy that kind of looks like me getting flown in the air or getting blasted, it's probably me.
Nice. So Oz, you are also a personal trainer, is that right?
Yeah, correct.
So what kind of conditioning do you do to prepare for these kinds of stunts?
That's a good question. Because the way I got into it really was, fitness has always been part of my life. I used to be a triathlete in high school. As I mentioned, I did like acrobatics as a hobby throughout my life, and it's always been fitness. I love staying in shape. I love being able to do these things, you know, to jump, to run, to flip, and you know, stay kind of on top of it. So once I started these live shows, I started seeing a lot of injuries that happen to people that just because of repetition, you know, even if it's like a really simple movement, you know, they kind of like do a really quick 90-degree turn exactly at this point in the show every single time, 6 times a day, 5 times a week, you know, eventually your ankle's going to get tweaked, you know, your knee's going to get whatever, you know. So I saw a lot of injuries that just kind of like were really easily preventable, you know? So I kind of like, I already knew my way around fitness really well, and being part of all these kind of like different fields, I was like, hey, why don't you try, you know, doing this? I don't know, standing on one leg 1 minute a day just to kind of like get those like ankle muscles, you know, a little bit more stable or kind of stuff like that. And I slowly saw that I could like really fix a lot of these like performance issues really quickly and really easily, you know? And then COVID hit. And once COVID hit, you know, everybody had a lot of time on their hands. I started studying at UCLA fitness instruction, actually, which is, it was a really cool program. They had a really good program over there. It was UCLA Extensions. It was fitness instruction certificate. It took me about 1.5 years. Really, really in-depth program about everything. You know, they make you take about 9 different courses ranging from like injury prevention to nutrition and anatomy, biomechanics. It was a really, really interesting course, you know. So I didn't know that that's what I wanted to do afterwards. It was just something that really interested me. And again, I had so much time on my hands at COVID. So I was like, yeah, let's do this. Why not? You know? And then afterwards, after doing stunts for a very long time over here and all these live shows, I kind of wanted to venture out a bit, you know, try a couple different fields, maybe something that's hopefully a little less taxing on the body, you know, and to kind of gain a little more experience in that field, to be able to help more people see the body a little bit better and kind of analyze movements a little more. So a couple months ago, I always had my personal business as well. So I would train people online usually. So either abroad, back home in Israel, or out here, I would find all these performers that kind of like needed a little help with either a specific injury they had or a specific move they wanted to learn how to do to like integrate into a show. Then I would work with them usually online to kind of build them a program, see how they're doing. They would send me back video feedback, and that's how it would kind of work. But just a couple months ago, I actually started working at Equinox, one of those like fancy clubs out here in LA. I work in the one in Thousand Oaks in Westlake Village, and honestly loving it so far. You know, you get some really interesting clients out there, and again, it's kind of like seeing the body as a puzzle. People usually come in with some kind of injury. My shoulder's been feeling weird, you know, for years. My knee's been feeling like this, and then you gotta kind of like put together the pieces. What does this guy do for a living every single day? What are the movements he goes through all the time? What are the reasons why, you know, his shoulder hurt? You know, what makes it like that? And you gotta, you know, learn how to fix it. And it's been just a passion, you know, like I really like looking at the body like that as a puzzle, you know, kind of like trying to figure out that, you know, putting the right pieces in place and taking out the pieces that are causing the puzzle to not work correctly. But yeah, it's always been something I love, and it helped me a ton as well in these live shows to understand, you know, why these warm-ups are important or why these cool downs are important. So for every live show, it's a little bit different, right? Waterworld is not super physical for me, at least for my role. A lot of the other roles are very, very physical. You have a lot of fighters, you have a lot of jumpers, sprinters, the mariner on the jet ski, you know, so I have a lot of roles that are very physical. But Waterworld for the fire diver is not super physical. You have a lot of landings as well. So like I make sure that I warm up my ankles very well and my knees and my hips to kind of support those like really hard landings. Shoulders as well to be able to do those like underwater swims, because you have to like stroke really, really strongly and really, really quickly to get out of the way as fast as possible, because you have jet skis on top of you, the water is getting lit on fire, you know, so like you literally cannot come up to breathe, you know, some of the spots, you know, so you have to get like out of there as quick as possible. So So the warm up for Waterworld is like very specific. You know, it's ankle and kind of shoulder oriented. But a lot of the other live shows, it's very full body. You know, so you have to make sure that you go. I like going from kind of like the top down to make sure I kind of cover everything. So warm up the neck, warm up the shoulders, elbows, wrists, kind of go like joint by joint, you know, make sure the core, hips, knees, ankles, and kind of like go through that. Usually my warm up for like my most intense live show is about 45-minute long, kind of.
Wow.
A whole workout in itself.
Yeah, it really is, honestly. And in the beginning, it was kind of exhausting, you know, knowing that you have to like hit all these things and then do a whole day of like 9 like live shows, you know. So like the one I do at Disney, it's 9 shows a day. You know, 9. That's
wow,
super intense. You know, so like doing that warm up and then having to do that throughout the day. That's why I eat a lot of carbs. You know.
So you have an amazing, basically, like your life is a workout. Basically, you are working out constantly as a stunt performer. And I know I joked about, you know, being inspired by seeing your physical fitness, but I think the entertainment industry could get better probably at talking about self-care and physical fitness. Actors usually are very aware, right? We're very aware of our bodies if we have to take our shirts off, or, you know, like it's a very body-centric job and career. But I also see a lot of my friends who carry heavy cameras, who are setting up lights and rigging and stuff, all that stuff. It's a lot of taxing on your body. And if you want to be in this for the long haul, you know, to make it to your 60s when you can retire or whenever in your 70s, I think what you're talking about, like the warm-up, is an interesting concept that I almost want like our film sets to include, right? We have the huddles in the morning sometimes where people get to introduce themselves or talk about safety. But even if there were like, just like, let's stretch together, it just makes me think like we could all benefit from that.
Amazing. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That'd be amazing if people do like, as much as like what we do is like crazy and seems like you need like a crazy warm up. Honestly, movement is better than no movement, you know? So like what we're doing is probably a lot better for the body than someone who's carrying a really heavy camera, you know, a couple hours a day. You know, that guy, his back, or girl, you know, their back is probably destroyed at this point, you know, just from doing the same movement again and again and again and again and carrying this load all day without prepping right. You know, so yeah, that's a really good point right there, that all these roles, you know, even people, directors, even, you know, just sitting all day, you know, causes your lower back to hurt so much, you know, because all your glutes, your lower back, all those muscles are kind of in that stretched position all day. And then your hip flexors are tight, you know, so it's like, again, no movement is probably even worse than what we do, you know, so you need to stretch, you need to get up, move around a bit, make sure you're working out all right. And a lot of in this industry as well, film, especially stunts, but a lot of like the entertainment industry, there's a lot of kind of like a push through mentality, you know, that like you work long hours, you finish in the middle of the night, you're tired, but whatever, you're just like, get through this and it'll be okay. I'll push through, I'll push through, I'll push through. And it doesn't need to be like that, you know, it really, really doesn't. That's not the right thing to do. You know, yeah, you'll get that extra $1 or $2, but man, in a couple of years, you're going to be regretting every single decision you made that, you know?
Right.
So it's really important to be able to like take care of yourself, like Tony mentioned, self-care, you know, super, super important, making sure you're sleeping right, making sure you're moving right, you're feeling okay, you know? That's health is worth so much more than actual wealth in the end, you know?
Right.
So, you know, you got to make sure you're listening to what's going on.
Yeah. Health is wealth, right? And mobility.
Exactly how it is. You know, as a martial artist, you probably know this, you know, better than most, you know?
Right. Yeah. Repetition. It's on your joints, your ligaments and tendons and everything. And yeah, for sure. And yeah, as you get older, mobility becomes super important. And like you said, just sitting around in a chair, you know, I mean, I have a desk job, and sitting around in a chair all day definitely tightens things up. And,
yeah, it sucks. You know, it sucks. People who drive long hours, people who sit in a desk job, anything like that, like those people probably need to be moving a lot more than I do. I need to be warming up a lot more than I do, you know?
Right.
There's a concept that I really like that I've heard in recent years come up a lot more often. That everybody knows the concept of rehab, you know, rehabilitation, you know, after something happens, an injury, whatever, so they have to rehab themselves, you know, so after the injury stops hurting, you know, they start building themselves back up, you know, with physiotherapy, stretches, whatever, to kind of build that back up and make sure you're back to where you used to be. But there's a concept that again, started coming up a lot more in recent years called prehab, you know, prehabilitation. Right. You know, which is pretty much getting your body ready for whatever you will need to do in, you know, your day or whatever, you know. So knowing that the show you do or the day you have is very back oriented or very hip tightening, so you'll try to loosen up those hips beforehand, or make sure your back is stable better, or do some shoulder warm up, work on those external and internal rotators, So
Right.
prehab is a really cool concept that I've been hearing a lot lately and that I support so much. That's your warm up, it's your prehab, it's your pre-movement habilitation,
Right, and it's preventative, right? So that
Exactly.
you don't have to go and nurse an injury and try
Yeah,
to
you won't
get
have
back
to rehab if you prehab. If
Right.
you're ready beforehand, your body's gonna be able to go through whatever stressors it needs to go through without having to take care of it afterwards. It's already ready. Your shoulder's already ready. Your knees already ready. Your ankles are already ready. You're not gonna sprain it in the first place.
I like it. So, Tony. I was
Tony's
just about
jumping in
to. Yeah, he might be having some technical difficulties. You're talking about getting more involved in Hollywood productions, or you're at least that's what you've got your eye on. What shows or movies, or even if you don't have a specific show or movie, or what types of genres are you aspiring to get into?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, in the beginning, it was just kind of like trying to get onto everything,
Right.
everything.
Absolutely.
But I noticed that the people that are a lot more focused in like their kind of like niches, they get a lot more gigs, and they get a lot more jobs, and they also enjoy what they do. A lot of people in Waterworld, especially, I work with a lot of people who do like motorbike stuff and like vehicle oriented things.
Okay.
Stunt driving, motorbikes, jet skiing, and stuff like that. And those people, they love what they do, and they already have their shows and their producers that know that they do what they do and they do it well. So they kind of work with them consistently, So staying kind of like focus oriented, to kind of what you want to do is I noticed it is a little more important than kind of like trying to just like throw yourself out everywhere.
Sure.
But I'd say, so I like movements very much. So anything that requires a lot of like flipping and jumping and kicking and twisting and a lot of stuff like that. I'm not an insanely good fighter, but I can do some really cool kicks and some really cool tricks, that usually gets involved in, some maybe like more Asian kind of like style of fighting,
Sure.
and stuff like that, rather than more like the Western, straight off, kind of more dirty kind of brawls. That's not really my thing. And of course, I'm good with all the high stuff, all the high falls. So if guy gets tossed off a building or jumps out a window or stuff like that, that's 100%, my wheelhouse. That's like what I love doing. Throw me out a window gladly onto like a big airbag from 40, 50, 60 up to 100 feet. That'll make my day, would absolutely love that,
Oh, wow.
Exactly like that. My air awareness is really, really good. Throw me off high platforms all freaking day,
So it sounds like you're already kind of on that path. Then you kind of already know your specialties and you can zero in on those, and those are the things that you can sell yourself to casting directors and whatnot. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think we talk a lot on this show about knowing your brand, right? Your voice and who you are. And when you put that out into your Instagram even, I mean, it's obvious what you do, what you're good at. When you look at your page, you can just do a quick little skim and go, oh, cool. And, I'm a director. I do a lot of casting. You can count on the fact that if I'm looking to cast you, I'm going to peruse your social media.
Exactly.
I'm going to see what you're putting out there, because I want to see your skill, your talent, but I'm also looking at your vibe. Are you someone I want to hang out with on set all day? Do you have a personality that I think could gel with the rest of our crew? And so, yeah, it's really cool to kind of see, in such a quick way when I met you, which was a little over a month ago, looking at your Insta stuff and go now meeting you now, like you are who you are. It's pretty obvious, and you're good at what you do. And it's really cool. So for those out there who might want to be stunt performers, what are some things you would encourage them to do? Take, these kind of cool classes that you do, but what other things would help them get into this kind of work?
Well, as we mentioned before, find your niche, find the kind of stunts you would want to do, right? Stunts is a really, really, really wide world. You have ranging from water stunts to high falls, to fire, to fighting, to acrobatics, to weapons, to cars. Like there's so many different venues you can go down with stunts. Even that's why a lot of circus performers actually like kind of get into stunts, because they're so well-rounded in what they do. They kind of train everything, so they can be integrated into shows a lot easier. So it's a lot of circus performers kind of transition into stunts. So find your niche, find what you like doing. If you are a former boxer, you know, you might get integrated really well into action scenes, to fight scenes. You know, if you are a high diver, that's, you know, clear path right there. If you like cars, man, you know, go do that. You know, whatever you like doing and you have that passion about, there is a way to integrate it into stunts in one way or another, right? So first of all, find your passion, what you actually want to be doing, right? Besides that, there's, wow, LA, I mean, if you're located in LA, good on you. There's so much stuff going on here. Atlanta as well is also a really big stunt hub right now that's going on. A lot of the film stuff's going on in Atlanta. So those are like two really big hotspots for stunts right now. You can easily find a lot of stuff going on. But specifically, I can talk about LA a little bit more. I'll give a shout out to two really cool gyms that I like going to that have really big stunt industries. Kind of like people overall that go there. There's Jam that's in Van Nuys. There's a Joining All movement. That's kind of like a thing. They're called Jam. They're owned by stunt people, and a lot of stunt performers go train there all the time. It's tricking, martial artists, acrobatics, all that kind of stuff. It's like a kind of like a gymnastics gym that's been like transformed into more like a parkour, free running, and martial artist kind of like vibe, you know? So a lot of people go train there, and they also have their own courses as well. You know, so every once in a while they'll have like a film fighting workshop, you know, which actually they just posted about today. So I think by the end of the month, they have a film fighting workshop that gets sold out like so quick. So if you guys are somebody interested in film fighting in front of a camera, which is very different from stage fighting or real fighting, go check their stunt class out. It's a really, really good workshop. I did it last year. Absolutely loved it. It's like 5 days, the whole week, and it's super, super intense. They bring stunt coordinators. You can talk to the coordinators themselves, and you can really get like an idea of like what they're looking for as well. So when you apply for a job and you send out your reel, you know what they're looking for, you know? So they have Jam, that's one of them. And the other one, which is kind of the same idea, but their gym is a little bit bigger and they're more parkour oriented. They're called Tempest. And they're also kind of like in the Valley area, right? Tempest, kind of the same vibe. Again, gymnastics gym that's kind of transformed into like parkour and free running. They also have their own classes as well and workshops that they do, and awesome people. Really, the people that go there and they teach there, they bring in awesome coordinators as well. A lot of my friends have gone through their workshops already. I go train there. I haven't taken their workshops yet, but I go train there almost weekly. Use their amenities a ton, and it's just a really cool vibe. You go out there and you meet such nice people, and if somebody sees you like working on something like a flip, a trick, or whatever, and they see you're kind of like struggling with something, like 9 times out of 10, someone will come up to you and be like, hey, you know, try this, you know, and they don't come in like kind of like a, you know, like a looking up from above and be like, oh, I can do this already, you know, but more they're really, really trying to help, and they're so hyped when you get it, you know, and they're really, really trying to like help you out because everybody was there, you know, and all those people, you know, in this industry in general. It's funny that you mentioned that a second before, Tony, about like seeing someone's vibe and like, is this someone that I want to work with? You know, this industry in general has like transitioned so much in the last like 10, 20 years from like people being honestly just like assholes and stuck up people, you know, all the time being like, oh, I'm so good and, you know, I'm above everybody and don't everybody like talk to me. So like suddenly all these people want to work with people who are a lot nicer and just like friendlier to work with, you know, and you teach them a little bit more rather than someone who already knows the skills and just is a horrible person to work with, you know? So don't be a dick, everybody out there. Just be a nice person. Be friendly, you know, like it's not going to get you anywhere to like look cool, get there with your sunglasses and like, you know, look all like distant and mysterious and whatever. Be open, be friendly, talk, ask questions, ask for help, give out help without expecting anything in return. You're going to get something in return, I promise. You know, like anybody who you help in the end, especially in those gyms, like I mentioned, they're going to remember you forever. I can remember every single person that helped me out with a trick like years afterwards, you know. Right. Every time I do that trick, I think about that person, you know. So don't be a dick, guys. Best advice I could give you in the stunt industry: just don't be a dick.
In general, good life advice from Oz KAYNAN, everybody. Hey, Oz, this is so great. You definitely seem to be a good guy, and when we have people on the BraveMaker show, we're always like intentional with figuring out like, okay, can we cross paths again? So now that I know a stunt performer that lives out in the valley here and has done all this great stuff, we have you forever on our page. We can shoot this out, but we'll hopefully be able to connect with you, and you just never know when and how people get connected. So we're super stoked.
You never know when you might need to light someone on fire and throw them out a window.
60-foot window.
He's the guy to call right there. So.
The guy who's throwing on fire out of a window, I'm your guy, man.
That should be in your bio, like your Instagram bio. That's it right there.
That's a good bio, actually.
Yeah, it totally is. All right. Well, we're not done yet, Oz. We want to hear your Brave fave for the week.
Brave faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave faves.
I will kick it off. My Brave fave of the week. Gosh, now I'm totally feeling convicted because I just was talking about this, and here I am faving a food. I don't fave food all that much, everybody, but I have been on this amazing set this week. I have 4 or 5 days booked in this cool immersive theater experience with like over 100 people. Talent from New York and LA. I'm one of like 10 Bay Area actors that were cast in it, and I'm like one of like 3 who don't dance or do. There's contortionists and there's like circus performers. I have the most ridiculous role, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. I can't do it yet, but the craft services is out of this world. It is so good. So much food, too much food. And of course, I'm also like talking about fitness and looking at like, Oz's body. And then I'm with all these amazing actors, some who are dancing with Lady Gaga. I'm not even kidding. And I'm like, I'm so like, I need to get my dad bod together. But of course, there's these things called choco rooms that I've never had in my life.
What are those?
They're like Pocky. It's like Pocky. They're shrooms.
Oh, wow.
It's little tiny mushroom shaped Pocky. Oh my gosh.
Wait, are they actual mushrooms like covered with chocolate or something? Or are they just
It's not really mushrooms. Actually, I probably should read the label. Look at me. I don't even know what I'm eating. But they're mushroom shaped. It's like little mushroom caps with little crackers on it. Oh my gosh, choco room. So I was eating them and I asked the craft service lady, what do these taste like? She's like, oh, it's like Pocky. I'm like, oh yeah, it's so good. So that's my fave of the week. And I've been stealing them. So anybody on set who was looking for them, I probably took like 6 or 7. I'm sorry. Jason, what's your brave fave?
First of all, shame on you for having that on when Oz is on this particular episode. You shouldn't be eating that, man.
Not. I'm a huge advocate for food, especially with all chocolate. Carbs aren't bad, people. Eat your food.
Well, you get to eat anything you want because you're working out like 17 times a day.
That was my like goal in the end. People think I want to do stunts and whatever. No, I just want to work out so I can eat whatever I want.
Eat whatever you want.
That's
the secret. That's the secret. Jason, what's your brave fave?
All right, my brave fave. I've been kind of going on about this for a while now, but Picard season 3, Star Trek Picard season 3. Amazing show. It really gave the original, or I shouldn't say the original, I should say the Next Generation cast the send-off that it deserved. It was great to see them all back in action. Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes, all of them. I pretty much grew up on Star Trek The Next Generation as well as TOS reruns, the original series. But man, TNG got me through part of high school and part of college, so it was great to see this series. It was amazing. So,
and the fact that he's on a TV show on Paramount Plus, it's pretty like hello. Yeah. TV is truly king, and streaming truly is. Well, by the way, WGA strike, pay writers more.
Yeah, that's right.
Writers more.
That's right. The writers on Picard season 3, awesome.
Even more. What's your brave fave? What's your favorite thing of the week, Oz?
Wow, so I was like really thinking about this, and I thought about between like a couple series that I just watched or books I just read. But actually, this is a really random, strange one. But a Trader Joe's actually came out with this really, really nice snack. It's a cool take on an Israeli snack actually that I have back home in Israel. That's one of my favorite snacks. It's called Bamba. So that's Bamba, right? Bamba. It's like a peanut butter puff. So imagine
my gosh, yes, I know what this is.
Of peanut butter. So it's a peanut butter puff, but they have that simple version, the Bamba, but they have the dipped in chocolate version, right? Which I've never seen before. So they have Bamba dipped in chocolate. They have that at most Trader Joe's. They run out so quickly. I literally asked one of the workers like what day they stock up again so I can get there like on that day. That's it. That's the original Bamba. That's the one that's just the peanut butter puff. But they have the chocolate covered ones that I just found out about this week. And oh my God, I have those like I have 5 bags in my cabinet in my kitchen as we speak, right?
And they're small bags too, right? They're like little.
Yeah, they're pretty small. They're not too big at all, And I devour like a bag in one sitting. I don't even realize it. It's just like gone, Wow. So Bamba in itself is an amazing snack. Which, fun fact about that, that's why Israel barely has any nut allergies, because like babies eat that from like a very, very young age. So Israel has almost no nut allergies whatsoever because of that snack. The chocolate version,
Yeah. Isn't there one like hazelnut too? I feel like
I haven't found that here, but they have a hazelnut version in Israel. How do you know about that?
Because we have Trader Joe's here, and I love that snack too. I think I faved that like 2 months ago.
Wow.
They have hazelnut. I haven't found the hazelnut version out here. So the hazelnut is kind of like inside rather than like dipped in it, which is amazing. And those are even like smaller bags. It sucks. You know?
So good. Okay,
this is becoming a foodie episode
I
here.
know, this is good. I feel
like
so
it.
much better about myself. Thank you, Oz. Well,
because, guys, food is important. You know, body positivity, all that. You know, don't cut food. Cutting food is never the solution.
Eat a lot of food, but then you got to work out a lot too. So eat whatever the heck you want. Just work out a lot.
You
Just
know,
become a stunt
make you feel
performer.
better at the end, you know?
This is so good. Well, Oz, thank you so much for being on the show. Do not go away, y'all. I want to shout out to our amazing team that does all the work behind the scenes. Our producer, Amy Cohen, out of Austin, Texas, has been putting up quotes while we've been chatting, and I love that she is who she is on our show for the past 13 months now, 14 months almost. So Amy, thank you so much for producing and communicating with our guests. Our intern, Jessica Cohen, who takes all of the shows that we do and cuts them up into little bite-sized clips on our Instagram, which you can follow at BraveMaker.org. And she'll take all the things that we talk about and make it so that you don't have to watch the whole show. If you are too busy, you could just watch little snippets on our Instagram page at BraveMaker.org. And then Carrie Alley, who's our social media producer out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. She's always posting and promoting. And Barnell Amos, our podcast editor, who will take all the things that we just said, cut it up, edit it, and put it on the audio podcast. So you can listen to this anywhere you get podcasts. 190 episodes. So glad to be doing this. Thank you. If you are somebody who happens to be generous in any way, shape, or form, and you would like to become a partner with us, like Robin Zitko, who is at our podcast donation level every month, she gives a certain amount and gets her name shouted out. Robin happens to be my mom. Hey, I'll take what I can get, right? We need all of the support to do this show, to pay for our streaming subscriptions and our editors and all that kind of stuff. We need your support. If you want to do that, go to bravemaker.com/donate, or just use your phone and you can text the word BraveMaker to 44321. That's text the word, my phone is on flashlight. Text the word BraveMaker to 44321. Last but not least, I'm going to be in LA. I'm going to be screening my film, The Crossing Guard, in North Hollywood on May 10th with the Pasadena Film Festival. If you're in the Hollywood area, come hang out with me. Oz, if you come, I will bring you Bamba with hazelnut on May 10th. If you're not doing a cold water show.
I'm putting that down right now, May 10th.
Wow.
I got you.
Yes, Wednesday night, May 10th, 8 p.m. We'll be at the NoHo Lemley 7. Me and another actor, Adrian DeSantis, who's in The Crossing Guard, and we would love to see you and anybody. And I will bring Bamba. I'm going to tell you that. Only Oz is getting it, but I'm bringing Bamba.
We'll work for Bamba.
Small bag, of course. Only I'm getting it.
Nice.
All right, one more time, you two. Where can people find you on the socials? Jason, I'll start with you.
You can find me on Instagram at JasonYourFace. I'm also on TikTok at JasonYourFace.
I can put that down on my handle, but it's Instagram is at Aussie Bozzy. So it's OZZY_BOZY. Aussie Bozzy.
Aussie Bozzy for all the fitness tips and inspiration you need. Thank you so much, Oz.
There it is.
So good to meet you.
Really awesome.
And you know, I'm coming down to Disney, so I hope you're going to be also at Disney when I come in August. Can we arrange that?
Again, cannot confirm nor deny that.
Can't confirm or deny. You're spinning webs. We cannot confirm it, but it is on the Instagram. It might not be you. That's true. That's fine. All right. Hey, thanks everybody for watching and for listening. Next week, I will not have a show because I'll be in LA, like I just said. But the following week, check this out. We have Elisa Donovan, who is in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She also starred in Clueless alongside Alicia Silverstone as the frenemy named Amber. She has a new book coming out, and they're also producing it into a movie. Elisa Donovan can be found at Instagram at Red Donovan, and she's got a really great social presence. So I'm excited to have her on the show 2 weeks from today. Until then, Oz and Jason, do not go away. We'll do a screenshot photo, but everybody else, have a great week. Be brave. Keep creating brave stories. Change the world. And you are the story. See you next time.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at BraveMaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.